the city carved from light. Some say it's a myth, a legend, whispered by travelers who claim to have glimpsed it in the distance. A city where the sun never sets, where the very walls are carved from beams of eternal light. It's called Solara, the city carved from light, and its beauty is beyond comprehension. The story begins with Kian, a humble wanderer who had heard the tale countless times but never truly believed. He'd heard of this radiant city from old men around campfires, and from traders who swore they'd seen it glowing on the horizon during their most desperate journeys. But to Kian, it was no more than a story to pass the time on long, lonely roads. Then, one fateful evening, Kian found himself at the edge of a vast desert. The sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows over the dunes, but as he looked up, something caught his eye. In the distance, just beyond the edge of the world, a glow began to rise, a golden, blinding light that stretched across the sky like a ribbon of dawn that would never end. It wasn't just the setting sun, it was something else, something eternal. Driven by curiosity, Kian began walking towards the light. Each step brought him closer to the impossible sight, the city that seemed to pulse with life, made of light itself. The closer he got, the more surreal it felt. The temperature didn't change. The air was calm, even though he had crossed the harshest part of the desert. It was as though the world had shifted, aligning itself to make way for something that shouldn't exist. The city's streets were paved with gleaming stones that reflected the sunlight in ways Kian had never seen before, almost as though the ground was alive. The buildings soared high into the sky, their edges sharp and brilliant, bathed in a glow that didn't come from any traditional source. And as he walked deeper into the city, he found that the people who lived here, the Solari, were like nothing he had ever encountered. Their eyes were bright, filled with the light of the city, and their movements were graceful, as if they were in tune with the rhythm of the sun itself. But Kian soon discovered the price of living in such a place. The Solari were not immortal, though they seemed to age slower than anyone from the outside world. Their lives were tied to the sun's unyielding radiance. Without it, they would cease to exist. The city's light was both their gift and their curse. One evening, the impossible happened. The light began to flicker. A shadow crept over the city, casting long, eerie reflections across the golden streets. Panic spread through the Solari. They had known the light could fade, but they never imagined it would happen while they were still alive. Kian, realizing the enormity of what was at stake, made a desperate decision. He had to find the source of the light before it disappeared forever. He journeyed to the heart of the city, where a massive radiant tower stood, its pinnacle lost in the sky. Within, he discovered an ancient power, a fragile crystal at the center of it all, its glow weakening. It was the heart of Solara, and it was dying. Kian knew what had to be done. With a trembling hand, he placed his own soul into the crystal, willing it to burn with his life force. And just as the light began to wane, it surged back to life, brighter than ever, the city restored. But as the light pulsed through him, Kian's body began to fade. He had given everything for the city, for its people, for a place where the sun would never set. In his final moments, he understood what the Solari had always known, that light, in its purest form, is a gift, but also a burden. Solara would never fade, not as long as someone, somewhere, was willing to give all they had for it. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell us what you think happens to Kian and whether the city will ever need saving again.